What's up, Bama Insider Nation? Trey Hannity here, breaking down the inside linebackers today as we look into the 2022 season. Guys, we need to get this video to 500 likes, help the channel grow. We appreciate all of your support. Excited to talk about a group today that Pete Golding works with most closely, as this group will see some major changes with the exit of Christian Harris to the NFL draft. But hey, Henry To'oTo'o, the leader, the play caller, will be returning, and that's where I want to get started today. Talking about number 10. Of course, originally from Sacramento, California, he didn't always go to Alabama, played his first 2 seasons at the University of Tennessee, and we had high expectations as he led Tennessee in tackles for both of those seasons. 2021, we knew he was going to call plays after a really productive fall camp for Mr. To'oTo'o. He earned all SEC second team honors from the conference coaches and led UA in tackles this season with 113. He had 8.5 for loss for negative 41 yards, also contributing 4 sacks for negative 29 yards. He had 2 quarterback hurries, 2 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. Now, he was named to the preseason watch list for the Lombardi and Polynesian Award and earned Walter Camp Defensive Player of the Week recognition for his output against Mississippi State and Arkansas. Now, he was named the SEC Defensive Player of the Week following the Arkansas game as well, and was selected as one of the Defensive Players of the Week by Alabama coaches for his play against Mississippi State, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Georgia. Henry To'oTo'o maybe caught some criticism this year, but in my opinion, he plays one of the hardest positions on the field. Inside linebacker, especially the linebacker that has to call plays, really has a lot to do. I think early on in the season, this defense with a mix of youth and some veterans like To'oTo'o had difficulty communicating with each other. As the season went on, this defense mightily improved, and of course, you can look to Henry To'oTo'o as one of the leaders. He'll look to do so again in 2022 as he skipped out on the NFL draft and will get another chance with Alabama as he gets set for his true senior season. Now, like I said, guys, Christian Harris is moving on to the NFL. So what does that mean for the other half of the middle? Christian Harris was a force. Maybe not your vocal leader like Henry To'oTo'o, but he was an outstanding player and another veteran that this defense relied on for leadership. The next guy I want to talk about was in the transfer portal, but has decided he will be coming back to Alabama for another year. Jalen Moody, I think, could really step into this role. There's a couple guys I'm going to mention throughout the rest of this video that I think we'll see rotate in on that other side at inside linebacker, but I think Jalen Moody's probably the first one you call on. Jalen Moody has now been with the Crimson Tide for 4 seasons. He'll be coming back for a 5th year. Listed at 6'2", 225 on the roster now. Kind of seen his role shape and change throughout his course. Really working on special teams more than anything back in 2018. Provided some depth at middle linebacker and saw time in 14 games, missing only the Mississippi State game. He did get Special Teams Player of the Week honors that season in consecutive weeks against Louisiana and Arkansas. In 2019, a little bit more of an expanded role at middle linebacker. He totaled 10 tackles as a sophomore and tied for second on Alabama's special teams unit with 5 tackles. He was selected as one of the coaching staff's Special Teams Player of the Week again, this time against South Carolina and Southern Mississippi. In 2020, maintained that special teams role and continued to rotate at linebacker at 18 tackles, an increase in production again, and had half a tackle for loss that season. He also added a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. He was selected as one of the Defensive Players of the Week this season by Alabama coaches' first play against Arkansas. Of course, a magical season in general for the Crimson Tide as they went on to win the national championship, but this past year, we all knew there was going to be some openings at defense, some other guys that get their chance. Thought Jalen Moody might be one of these guys. He contributed at linebacker and on special teams yet again, but saw a little bit of a decrease in production with the income of Henry To'oTo'o. He had 11 tackles and an interception as well, and earned Special Teams Player of the Week honors for his play against Southern Miss and Ole Miss. Now, Jalen Moody did enter the transfer portal to see his options, but ultimately has decided to return with the Crimson Tide. I think we're going to see a very similar role. We'll see him on special teams. We'll see him rotate in at middle linebacker. Maybe the first guy to do so now, but I think a rotation is probably the most likely scenario. So who else is going to be part of that rotation? Well, I got a guy, Deontae Lawson, I think is up next. And originally, I thought Deontae Lawson might be the immediate replacement when I saw Christian Harris was going to the NFL, but the more that I think about it, I could see Moody and Lawson really rotating in and out of this role. Deontae Lawson really not had the chance to make a name for himself quite yet, as this past year was his freshman season. Originally from Mobile, just kind of provided depth in this linebacker group, only worked in 4 games. Deontae didn't record any stats, but I think with more time, this fall camp, this spring camp as well, he could really get the reps he needs and potentially the opportunity he needs next season. As I said, it's 6'2", 226, very athletic middle linebacker here, and a guy that I think is really just ready to get after it. I don't think he's going to be the immediate starter on the other side of Henry To'oTo'o. I think it's going to be Jalen Moody, but I could see Deontae Lawson rotating into this role quite often early on and throughout the season. As we look around at others that were on the team last season coming back for another year to play that middle linebacker role, got to Kendrick Blackshire. Listed at 6'2", 232 pounds, Blackshire was also just a freshman this past season, and a guy that I think could really turn the page. You guys may remember the pictures during his recruitment of just some of the weightlifting feats that he accomplished. This dude is really, really strong. Very physical middle linebacker, kind of carved out a role on special teams in his rookie year. Worked in 9 games last season, recorded 3 tackles on kickoff coverage, and really gave Alabama fans just a taste of what he's capable of. I think Kendrick Blackshire could maybe be next up after Deontae Lawson, or maybe see equal minutes this season. But as far as rostered guys, I like Kendrick Blackshire a lot, and I like his chances to at least get more time in 2022. One more roster player I have to talk about before we go to the guys that are coming into the program from the class of 2022. Before we do that, Ian Jackson, listed at 6'1", 235, another freshman from this past season. Although they didn't get significant minutes, or really opportunity, Deontae Lawson and Kendrick Blackshire both at least got chances in 2021. Ian Jackson, not so much. Didn't record any stats, didn't see action in any of the Crimson Tide's games this season. This is a player we got to see in practice this past fall, and is going to bring more depth to this role, but I don't necessarily think we're going to see Ian Jackson quite yet. Middle linebacker in general, typically has a lot of guys go down, so there's a chance that Ian Jackson could get swapped into this rotation depending on how the depth works out, but I think he's maybe the last one you call on as far as the rostered players go. Now on to the youngsters of the group, starting with a young man that earlier this week received his 5th star from Rivals, Jihad Campbell. On Rivals.com, Campbell is listed at 6'3", 230, of course out of IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. This is going to be a very, very special player. Ranked as the number 29 player in the country, the number 9 middle linebacker, and the number 18 player in the state of Florida. Campbell was committed to Clemson, but dropped that commitment very late in the process and signed with Alabama in this early signing period. Jihad Campbell, I think, could provide a lot of different things as far as his skill set goes, but another really athletic guy. Maybe not the size that you're looking for right away, but I think he has room to grow. You just love his athleticism and how aggressive he is in getting to the quarterback. The last player I want to talk about today, Sean Murphy. Now a 4-star, listed at inside linebacker, 6'2", 222, from Manassas, Virginia, member of the Unity Reed High School squad. He's the number 48 player in the country, the number 2 inside linebacker, and the number 2 player in the state of Virginia. Sean Murphy brings a lot to the table. Really athletic, I love his vertical, his quickness, his cutting ability, and of course another very aggressive inside linebacker as well. He committed with the Crimson Tide back in July and signed it up there in December as well. Another very special player. These 2 guys, Murphy and Campbell, I don't know how much we're going to see them in 2022. Like I said, injuries happen, and I think just having more depth with these guys is going to be a big deal for the Crimson Tide, but I think we'll maybe see Jihad Campbell first and then Sean Murphy as the season goes on. But a lot of youngsters obviously in this group. Christian Harris could have stayed for another year, but he decided to go to the NFL. That's a blow for the Crimson Tide, no doubt, as you wish Christian the best of luck this April. But Alabama now going to have to turn to some youngsters, along with Henry To'oTo'o, who brings that leadership, that veteran knowledge to this group, and a guy that's going to be calling plays in 2022. Like I said, guys, this is Pete Golding's main group. You're going to see him work with the middle inside linebackers more than any other position on the defense. That being said, hopefully this group is able to mature quickly and figure things out as the season goes on. For more information on these guys and all things Alabama football, go to BamaInsider.com. Hop in our forums, guys. We want to hear from you, and don't forget to hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel, get in the comment box to let us know what you think about the middle linebackers, and leave us a super thanks as a special tip for the Bama Insider staff. For BamaInsider.com, my name is Trey Yanity. this has been an inside look at the middle linebacker group heading into the 2022 season.